Hello, everybody. Um, I tried to start this Chumash class, this Torah class on Genesis a few months back. I was basically doing it alone, and I found it to be actually quite boring to do it on my own. So I reached out to a friend of mine. We actually went to school together, went to yeshiva together for many years. His name is Yitzchak, and I'm going to introduce him now, and we're hopefully going to try to walk through Genesis together. And here is Yitzchak. Hi, Yitzchak.
Hi, Donnie. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for helping me out here. I was struggling doing this by myself, and I couldn't think of a better person to join me.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really am excited to learn with you. I'm not even joking about that.
I don't know if we ever learned together before in the past. Has that ever happened?
Ever learned anything?
Being like as like a charusa properly, has that happened?
As I was late, can I tell a funny story?
Go for it.
As I was late, I was thinking about. It's funny. This reminds me of. You don't remember this? I don't know if you remember this or not. We were officially learning together when we were in fourth year in yeshiva.
Okay.
And you would leave early all the time, and I got annoyed at you that you left early.
Oh, so this is payback. Got it.
You're like, oh wow, how the tables have turned.
Perfect. And no, Yanga, Jacob is not here. Me and Jacob are learning on Sundays for the Talmud stream, the boring one. So hopefully this will be more interesting. Okay.
One last question, just because I've never done this before.
Sure.
Is there a way for me to see who is also watching?
You could see people commenting on like the side of your screen, but I'll just pull up the comments.
Just think, it could be millions of people are watching right now.
No, you see on the top, it shows you the viewership on the top, right next to live. It shows you that how many people are watching.
I don't think it's on my screen. Maybe it's just on yours.
Oh, I don't know. It's in the millions. That's for sure.
Well, how much is it actually? Just out of curiosity.
There are 3 people watching right now, so it's a huge crowd.
3 people, including us or not including us?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do you want to do a brief introduction about yourself at all, or do you want to jump straight in?
I mean, whatever. I'm happy to give a brief
give a brief intro so people know who you are.
One of my favorite. My name is Yitzchak. My day job. I have many jobs. My day job is I teach in a Jewish day school, and I've been teaching Torah and many different learning Torah, many different levels, settings, for quite a long time right now.
Awesome.
So that's basically
okay, and that's exactly why I wanted to bring you on board. So thank you very much for joining us. So I don't know how we're gonna walk through this. Maybe we'll start reading the verses, and we'll just see how things play out. If we want to look at different commentaries, I'm happy to. So let's just start from the beginning. Okay. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'es haaretz. So in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. V'haaretz ha'isasov v'vo v'choshech al pnei sehom v'ruach Elokim merachefes al pnei hamayim. So the earth was unformed and void, with darkness over the surface of the deep, and a wind from God sweeping over the water. I was just thinking now, it's interesting that it goes back, right? It starts by saying God created the heaven and the earth, and then it goes back saying it was so beforehand. It was so. You would think we should start with the status of the world and then God coming to create it. I don't know. I'm just thinking that now.
Well, I mean, one when I learned this second pasuk, one interesting thing that always jumped out at me was there's the Ramban, more in English known as Nachmanides. So he actually translates Tovavo. I think there's a discussion among the commentators what's like the two different why the two different words are necessary, and they're saying similar things. So This is it's like an unorthodox commentary, which is really different, but it's like a whole different way of like viewing this verse. Basically, is that he says that to means like the classic explanation, nothingness, but vo, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't remember which one it is, but it's not so important for right now. We could look at it. He says vo is that the way God created the world was he first created this universal matter, whatever that means exactly, and everything came from that, and God created everything else from that. And
Interesting.
it was very interesting. I think, if I remember correctly, he has like this whole long piece about it. A lot of different explanations to how like that affects the way the world. Um, there's like a whole long piece on it. I think it's also interesting because I think there was at some point in time. I love history, but I'm bad at remembering the details. But there was at some point in time over the millennia, there were philosophers who philosophized about different things, and one of the things was that there was some original universal. Oh no, well, take a step back. What I find really interesting thing about that is because that fits so beautifully with the modern day theory of evolution. That
Okay.
that basically, if you like evolution at its core is like originally there was something very simple. If you want to like take evolution to extreme, the whole world created was a very simple matter, and everything slowly evolved over time.
Interesting.
So I thought that was very meaning one of one of the well, I mean, I don't know if you want to get into this conversation or not, but there's this whole huge discussion about, does about, you know, evolution, does that fit with God creating the world and all that kinds of stuff?
Right. Well, I was just looking because you said the Ramban, so I think that's this piece right here where I just pull it up where he says, shoot, I just found it. No, I lost it. Where is it? I saw he translates. Wait, it was over here somewhere. Here it is. He says, "Bohu." Where is it? My mashma says kvar haisa tohu. Umay bohu ela tohu haisa. Umay to umay bohu davar sheyesh bo mamish tichsiv bohu. Like bohu means like there was
Oh,
something there.
yeah, that's what I remember that part. Right. I really like that. Meaning like I remember learning this elementary school, you're like tov, avo, like these are two random words you'll ever hear. So, and then like the
Right.
Ramban is like he's like breaking it down. He's saying, no, bohu, everything is in it. So I
Right.
remember finding that very cool.
Interesting. Um, then let me go back here. So I see. What does Young God say? See, why does it say began in English? Why translate it that way if the text more or less says it was created, began to? Do you understand that question?
Well, first of all, it is a good question, um, but it's really a question on Safaria.
Got it. You're saying
Honestly,
it's not the right translation?
not well. It's not necessarily wrong, but there's probably many different ways that many different commentators explain the exact what's it called, and Safari is probably going with one of them. I will have to say though, I think Safari uses some sort of an open I forgot what the word is, open source translation where people
Hmm.
come on and translate, and the sort of like Wikipedia kind of thing.
Sure.
And it's very rare, but I definitely have found instances where I found the translation to be, I don't want to say like blatantly wrong, but not up to par. So I don't know. I think it's helpful as like a tool, but I
Right.
wouldn't necessarily rely on it as like the end all,
Right.
as the authoritative text.
It seems Tobo doesn't have to have meaning. It can be felt in the heart. That resonates. Um, because Rashid ends with tough, suggesting the meaning in the beginning of. Okay. And then Jacob wrote see Rashi on Genesis 1:1. Okay. In the Greek, it says archaically, God put, sounds pretty cool. Okay. Awesome.
Wait,
Moving on.
what? I didn't understand the last one, the Greek thing. What was the Greek thing?
I didn't either understand it. I think he's referring to like some Greek gods. I'm not.
Okay, I'm just not familiar with it, but that's okay.
All right.
Thing
Moving
is,
on over here. What do you say?
but I'm just because I'm still figuring out what exactly we're doing. I mean, like, would you? And it's something that I've read about a lot. Would you be interested in discussing evolution and creation?
Oh no, Jacob wants to join. Oh no, Jacob, I didn't even like give him a background to who you are.
I can handle it.
Hi, Jacob.
I just came on to say hi, welcome, Baruch haba.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Jacob.
Very nice to meet you, Yitzchak. Just to explain what I was saying. So a lot of the things that happens with things like Safaria, and this is actually from the JPS, is they're trying to go against kind of what Christians sometimes end up saying.
Yeah.
So Christian translation of Genesis 1:1 is Bereshit bara, in the beginning, and that's the beginning, right? But when you read Rashi, he talks about how Reshit is smichut, right? And it's in the beginning of God's creating, right? So that's what this, when God began to create heaven and earth, right? They're trying to translate it more with the Rashi that Reshit is a smichut and chaser min pasuk and all that stuff. Yeah, so I thought I would explain myself, and it was a good excuse to come and say hi. But
Jacob, now I bring people to your corner. Do you see that? I'm doing outreach.
then aviti, pashati, chatati. Fruma Yidden aren't supposed to be found on the internet. Hashem Yerachem. But no, it's beautiful, and you're very welcome. And I am going to leave you guys alone, so
Thanks,
not to bother. But it's very nice of you to join me, Yitzchak, and
Thank
you're
you.
always welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
I thought he's a troublemaker. That was very polite.
He's the most polite troublemaker you'll ever meet.
Oh, here. Okay, got you. It's funny actually. There is a whole discussion about the first, verse, and like I never really had such a problem with it. I feel like it's such an appropriate way of starting the.
Meaning set the tone of sort of who's running the show, essentially.
Yeah, like that's like the most. I think like the whole entire Torah, Bible, whatever you want to call it, is just this is the most important thing.
Sure.
That God created the world. Meaning, if you don't believe that, then like there's no point in going past verse 1. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like either you're on the team or you're not. But like it's such an appropriate way of starting.
Right.
So it's like in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So I always found it interesting. I think what's really more interesting is that I always found it interesting that the Torah talks about creation at all. Like, why is it necessary? Why don't we jump straight to the story of Adam and Chava? Why is it necessary? Because we don't really understand it, anyways. Meaning,
right?
Like, why is it important for us?
Meaning what you're trying to say is that start with the story of Adam and Chava, and then it's clear in that story that there's a God running the scene, right? God's talking to them. Like, shouldn't that be enough that God is sort of
yeah, well, I would say have the first sentence in there. God created the heaven and the earth. However he did it, not our problem.
Oh, okay.
And then, okay, he created a bunch of things, and now let's jump straight into the story. I'm influenced how I learn. I don't know if we've ever discussed this about how I learn Chumash and Tanakh. Is very much influenced by someone named David Foreman. Are you familiar with him?
No.
You gotta listen to his stuff. He's really incredible. So he's very one of the things that he like that he's a what's the word? whatever crazy about into
Yeah.
is that you have to ask all the basic questions. Like you can't you gotta ask all the basic questions, and that's like meaning like he asks all the obvious questions, and then he's brilliant. He like specifically he has his book on the first like really on the story of Adam and Chava and Cain and Hevel. It's like this mind-blowing story. It's like it's one of these things that's like deceptively simple and like but like it's unbelievable. Anyways, um but another thing that he's very into, which I was influenced by, is that anytime you open a book, you have to ask yourself, like, what's the point of this book? Like, what's this book trying to teach me? Right?
Yeah.
Like, is it a biography? Is it a comedy book? Is it whatever it is? So, what's the point of the Torah? Right? The point of the Torah is really to teach us how to live our lives. As a matter of literally what Torah means. Torah means to teach.
Right. Right.
So, what are we being taught by knowing what was created on each day, and that there was Tohu and Vo and sun and the stars? What are we learning from that from the details of creation? I mean, I totally understand that we have to know that God created, but what are we learning from the details of creation?
Right. Right.
By the way, if I'm ever talking too much, you can tell me. Like I don't know.
No, I'm trying to process it. This is helpful. I mean, my first thought is that we learn. I guess this is God's first acts, and our goal in life is to emulate God, right? And I guess there's a lot to learn from the way God creates, and essentially our role in life is to create, right? So if the goal of a human is to create in this world and hopefully to create in a productive way, then it would make sense that the first thing you see is to watch God create and what his method of creation is. That would be my first thought as a response to it. But I think the question is more powerful than any answer.
Right. I mean, so you can kind of always go with I mean, along the lines of said, you could kind of always go with like the Torah has so many levels and it's so deep that like, okay, we don't get what the lessons are, but there's some really deep meaning here. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think that we should always strive to understand, what's the simple lesson? Like what's a simple meaning? Like because the Torah is not meant, definitely not generally, it's meant to teach average people also. It's not meant for just like, big rabbis named Yitzchak.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, I actually kind of got into a conversation about this with this guy named David, who's part of this space. And because we had a conference in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me about how, in different, there's different, he's talking about different midrashim and different Mamari Chazal, where it sort of basically, whitewashes the sins of the Avos or the sins of someone in the past, right? And he was he was asking me, like, do you think that like a rabbinic invention that the Avos sinned or didn't sin, like, or do you think it's real that they actually didn't sin? And he was talking about those types of things where he was talking about an idea of when Isaac, I'm not familiar with this medrash, but there's a medrash he said that where how did Isaac eat Esav's food? And the medrash says that Esav, when he pulled the arrow, like he did a perfect shechita. Like it was like a perfect shechita when he
I think I've heard of that part.
And he was saying to me, he was basically asking me questions like, is that a rabbinic way of trying to prop up Yitzchak, or is it for real? And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because it lends to this issue of what you just said about how you're supposed to learn the lessons, right? Even though the Torah is inexhaustible and endless and infinite, you're supposed to take the lessons from it. And what his point is, in a sense, is if you're going to start saying that no one has ever sinned, then you're taking away from the potential, in my mind, of how much you can learn in a certain sense, because you're not letting them be earthly beings,
It's fun. I understand what you're saying. It's funny that I am always, when I learn the Torah, I'm always amazed, and this is true for the Gemara also. I'm always amazed by how honest it is about the Avos sinning. Like it's literally full of mistakes. Like it's full of mistakes.
Sure.
So, listen, I'd have to see that medrash inside, but I would imagine where the medrash, like just like off the cuff, like what I would imagine that medrash is coming from is like, meaning that it's true that the Torah is honest about the mistakes that they made, but they're only honest about the mistakes that it only tells us about the mistakes that we can learn from or need to know for some reason, right?
Sure.
So if there's another mistake, if there's like this whole, this is like I'm just saying, just as like thoughts just streaming through my mind, but meaning if there's this like whole thing out there that Yitzchak wasn't really careful about kosher,
Right.
like that would be a big deal. Like, so meaning to say, like, and there's a Mishnah that says that Avram kept all the mitzvos, and so I think it's understood that at least it's understood that he passed it on. That's
right.
How he did Yitzchak, and he passed it on to his.
Right. No, he was sort of talking about, and I'm not really, I don't have opinion one way or the other. He was just sort of talking about this issue in general.
Yeah, no, but what I say is like it's like I think part of it's like every it's like history is written by the victors, so like you can't know what's sitting on the truth. It's like it's unbelievable that probably the most important, or what I mean most important, like the most like this text that has survived for like over 2,000 years and is like cherished by the Jews and other people also as like their most. I'm just always coming from a Jewish point of view, so as their like most important book, like it's literally chock full of like all of our heroes made all these mistakes. So like it's hard for me to. That's why I'm always coming with an attitude of like, if there's like an explaining how they didn't make a mistake, even though there's a question like, oh, did they make this mistake?
Right.
Like they did. Then like it doesn't.
You're saying the Torah already paved the path for showing all the mistakes in a sense. So there, you would assume the rabbis would sort of fall in line with that path in a way.
Right. I mean, if there was a mistake to be, but it's true the other way also. Meaning there are examples where the simple text sounds like they didn't really do anything wrong.
True. That's a good point.
And the rabbis say this was actually considered doing something wrong because
that's a great point. You're right. And some of them come to mind that are quite brutal, like where it doesn't say it anywhere. Think of like
what example?
Think of in Shmuel with Chafni and Pinchas. Is that their names? Elkanah's two sons. Is it Chafni and Pinchas, or am I?
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So the pasuk is very bland, and then the rabbis come and say, "Oh, these were like real sins, like were like that are not captured in the verse at all."
Right.
Which is fascinating. So that's actually a really good. I didn't think of it. That's a really great point of where it actually works the reverse sometimes. It's actually kind of fascinating. It brings even that to me is even a bigger problem now. It's so funny because I didn't think about it in the reverse, and to me that's even more. You have to have bigger shoulders and more like authority to start saying, that's why there's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Let's see. There's some comments here. I prefer the idea of God creating the time and the land first for chronological reasons. I guess that makes sense. You can notice later the containers are created in the first 3 days and then contained in the last 3 days. I think that's talking about like the rakia. I assume he's talking about.
Okay, that's interesting.
The Alexandrian Jews were pretty creative. Give the LXX a chance. I don't know what that means. I'm going to pretend I do though. Day 1 cosmos. Day 4 cosmic objects. Day 2 heavens. Day 5 swimming and flying things. Day 3 earth. Day 6 creeping and walking things. Oral tradition is greater than the written tradition. You just need to ask. And then Jacob pops in and says, LX is Targum Shivim. I still don't know what that means. Should I know what that means, Yitzchak? Do you know what Targum Shivim is?
No.
Well, LX is 70, so that makes sense, like Targum Shivim, but I don't understand what that means. It could be a joke or it could be serious. I'm not sure which one. Okay, should we go to the next verse?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or, and God said there should be lights. Vahi Or, and there was lights. Vayar Elokim it's an Orki Tov, and God saw that the light is good. Vayavdel Elokim ben Arvei Choshech, and God separated between the light and the darkness. Vayikra Elokim Or Yom v'Choshech Kar Laila, and God called to the light day, and to the night to the darkness night. Vayer Vayiboker Yom Echad, and it was evening and morning, day number 1.
Yeah, so this is part of what I was saying before of like the whole creation story is a little bit not confusing, but it's almost like where do you start with the questions? Like, like why light and day first, why light and darkness, why light first and then darkness, why light and darkness on the same day, why didn't he create everything one day? Like it's almost like it's working with like like a lot. Our perception of things are like based a lot off of what we're familiar with. So like it's hard to imagine I think you, at least me, I'm like not really familiar with things being created. So
Right.
like this. So like how do I even know where to start? You know what I mean? That's why it's
Right.
all a little bit like
Yeah.
So I think that's why you find actually. I think Rashi really makes this point. If I remember correctly, in the Vayar Arkitov. So I think Rashi has some exactly.
Let me
Hold up.
hang on a second. Rashi. He doesn't have anything on that. Here we go. Vayar was Arki Tov. Where's like the actual text? How do we get that?
So here, that you see the A over there, the A.
There it is.
Yeah. Well, I just want to show you something quickly. That A in the corner.
Yeah.
The A in the corner.
Mhm.
That you can click on that, and then you do source.
Oh, got it. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so Rashi's afazel nutrichim l'divrei Agoda. So Rashi is really referring to what he said, the things he said earlier, but meaning to say like there's this whole controversy, whatever you want to call it exactly, on itself, which basically is like, what are we doing with? Is basically, are you supposed to try to keep to the simple meaning of the Torah as much as possible, or are you supposed to, or like, well, the truth is, I don't really understand the whole controversy so well myself, but the Rashbam, who was Rashi's grandson, took issue with the fact that Rashi used so many midrashim to.
Really?
Yeah, you're not familiar with this Rashbam?
No.
Yeah, they don't teach you this one. And
no, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, the Rashbam, it's his intro to the Chumash. Basically, is like, I have to write this commentary because Rashi has like all these midrashim, and they're out there, and it's not the simple way of explaining the psukim, so we shouldn't. So, not like Rashi made a mistake in that regard. I don't know exactly what the issue is, because I don't think the Rashbam is saying that the midrashim themselves. Oh, is this famous?
I don't know.
I mean, so I'm not sure what the issue is exactly, because I don't think the Rashbam is saying like these midrashim aren't valid. Like, but I think
he says, I see it right here.
Well, yeah, that's
says, Yavinu hamaskil ki kol divrei harabasina v'dashinim kanim v'amitim v'zeh omer v'zeh Shabbos haydu bar timni sari shnin v'lo yodin the emek yotzi de shuta, right? Ikar halachas v'drash yotzi miyosar par v'bashina l'lashin shinut v'shuta shel mikro v'lashin sechlos l'bin. Wait, am I reading the right thing? I think I am.
But yeah, but keep on. You keep on going.
Right, but now he's going to do his explanation.
Maybe it's not in his Akdama. Oh yeah. Over there he starts talking about Pilegesh Begiva. No, that's not. That's the different. That's the story of Reuben and the.
Either way, it sounds like that's what he's saying in the beginning.
Yeah, I think he spells it out more.
He's quoting a Gemara, right? That says, I was learning for 18 years. I think that's what it means. And I didn't know that. Oh, I remember. I actually kind of vaguely remember this Gemara because it's a shocking Gemara that it says that that I've been learning for 18 years and I never knew that concept of Emek Yitzchak B'Shuta. I remember I learned this morning. I was very shocked by it. Like, what does that even mean? Like, you think that's the most obvious thing?
Right.
Here, let's see. Jacob has the hack. There are new printings of the Rashbam that some people have the chutzpah to censor.
Wow. So okay, cool. Wait, wait, Jacob, I have a question for you. So does that mean it actually wasn't? I remember reading this inside, and I thought it was an Hakdama, but maybe it's somewhere else. Or maybe you're saying the Hakdama got censored.
Interesting. It's also kind of like intense to critique your grandfather on the beginning of his commentary. That's quite a fascinating thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's really interesting because that's also that's where Tosfos came from in the Gemara.
What did he come from? What does that mean?
The whole Tosfos in the Gemara is a large chunk of it is Rashi's grandchildren.
Really? I didn't know that.
You didn't know this? No way, Donnie.
No, I didn't know that.
This they even talk about in yeshiva, but
no, I didn't know that.
But no, Lashim is and the Bali Tosfos say. Again, I'm not good with knowing like where things are, but they say is because basically we felt the need to write this because we see sometimes Rashi is I don't think they say wrong. They say in a very respectful way, but they say like Rashi's like, he was he's not explaining the Gemara the way it should be, and therefore we need to.
Right. I don't know where it is, but Rabbi Malot told me he has seen censored version of the Rashbam for being too critical of Rashi, which is stuyot of all stuyot. Rabbi Malot is one of the rabbis in residence in this corner.
Cool. Yeah. So, anyways, but you know what's interesting? I think whatever. I don't want to go too deep down any one specific rabbit hole yet, but yeah, but Tosfos is really the same idea. It was Rashi's grandkids taking issue with the things he said.
I had no idea. That's really cool. So like Rabbeinu Tam, one of Rashi's grandkids, like as an example.
Yeah. Rabbeinu Tam, the Ri Hazaken, the Ri Rabbeinu Tam, the Ri, and the Rashbam also, and those were the three most famous ones, and they were like a large chunk. I think, if I'm not mistaken, like the Ri is like the unofficial actual author of a lot of Tosfos and Shad. I don't remember that exactly. Don't take it what's it called, but that's. But it was also done in a very respectful way, and they were like, that's why they called it Tosfos as it's additions to what Rashi said.
Oh, interesting.
It came from a respectful way, but half the time they're saying Rashi says this. I don't love that.
Got it. Fascinating.
Cool.
But I don't know if you have a time constraint, so like if you have to go, let me know.
I have like at least tonight I have like 20 more minutes. But wait, and one other thing is actually I'm remembering this now that we had this discussion about like other people talking about Rashi. One of the most it's like one of the most beautiful, I remember it's like striking works I've ever read is the Ramban's introduction to his Parish on Chumash. But I remember one of the most striking parts of it is like 75% of the time what Ramban's doing in Chumash is arguing with Rashi, but the way he talks about, you have to see the way he talks about Rashi in his Hakdama, in his introduction.
Right.
Before you just say like, oh, the Ramban, with all
it's Rashi stupid, right?
Right. But so like it's like I think it's like really cool to see the balance of like arguing, but in a very respectful way.
Right.
I think that's really what we're all striving for.
For sure. This is from, I think his name is Clonimus, I believe. The Rashi in Harios was written by his son-in-law, the Rivam, if we're dropping random Rashi lore.
Wait, what's that? So far, I was literally just listening to something about this because Daf Yomi just started with Harios.
Yeah. Oh, Jacob's back. But before Jacob comes back, Daniel is a lovely guy from Rochester, New York. Just an amazing guy.
So the other guys weren't lovely? I'm joking.
No, I met Daniel in person, and I was born in Chicago, so it was good to see you, Daniel. Hope you're well. Let me add Jacob. Hey, Jacob, welcome back.
Okay, you guys, like this is the stuff that really gets my blood boiling. So, but like, I remember I was reading in Yabia Omer, Rav Avadia was talking about Rav Eliashiv, and he wrote something like, "Va'atayid harata ladat she'en bedavarav klum," right? It's like he completely obliterating Rabbi Eliashiv, right? Rabbis disagree, and like this craziness that somebody would think, it's not kavadik enough of the Rashbam, or like what?
For
How
sure.
dare you? Who the hell do you think you are?
I totally agree. I mean, whoever's censoring that sees, I know better than the Rashbam. The Rashbam thought he could write this, but I know he shouldn't have, so I'm going to take it out. That's basically what he's saying.
So I have a translation of Chovot HaLevavot, and the translator's like, some people were saying I shouldn't translate this part of it because people might misunderstand. It's like, who do you think you are that you're going to decide which parts of the Chovot Levavot people should read or shouldn't read?
For sure.
Like, it's chutzpah she'en kamohu.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Also, you see in the Gemara itself, the disputes between the rabbis.
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
Brutal.
Yeah,
they'll say things like, "I should kill you." They'll say things like, "Punch your eye out." Like they'll say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It's a good thing these guys didn't censor the Gemara, or else we'd be missing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. The fact is, they do censor the Gemara because there are certain Gemaras we don't learn, right? So my rabbi, he has this minhag in his family that they make a siyum on the entire Mishnah for their bar mitzvahs. So every one of his sons made a siyum on the entirety of the Mishnah, right? And I was like, so do you actually learn Seder Nashim? Like, there's a lot of stuff in Seder Nashim that, like, you know, for a Hasidic guy to be teaching his 12-year-old, and he's like, yeah, of course I do.
It's Torah. You think you know better than God?
Honestly, like, yeah. What are you going to do? You're not going to. But I've spoken to people who are like, there are certain Gemaras. They can wait until for Kol level. You know.
That's just silly. 1 second. But you know, like you can't get through Genesis. You know, all the crazy Yehuda and Tamar. I mean, how are you going to? What is going on? Like, it's crazy. Like,
yeah. I had a Christian once ask me, do Jews read Shir HaShirim? And I told him, I'm Sephardic. We in a lot of the shuls that we were, Shar HaBitachon, I think is the one that some people are like, don't read. Kalonymus is actually he's Satmar. So he knows.
Oh, it's Kalonymus, right? Okay, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, this one's Kalonymus. Yeah. So what was I saying?
Shir HaShirim.
Shir HaShirim. I'm like, I'm Sephardic. We a lot of the synagogues I go to, every Friday night between Mincha and Ma'ariv, they read the entirety of Shir HaShirim, right? Lots of people have it memorized. He's like, in front of kids and women? Like, yes, in front of kids and women. And like, yes, they actually understand the Hebrew, right?
Wait, so 1 second, Jacob, I'm just going to jump in for a second. Are you from? There's actually a Gemara about about the Chazal were just the Gemara discusses that they were potentially not going to include Shir Hashirim because it's so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're familiar with that. Okay.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't heard of Targum Shivim though. Come
What
on.
is it?
What?
So the Septuagint. So the Septuagint. The story is.
Oh, yes. Okay. Once you say the story, Donnie will know it too. Okay, go ahead.
So the story is what happened was that Ptolemy wanted a translation of the Torah. And frankly, the Septuagint only properly refers to the 5 books of Torah. It doesn't refer to Isaiah because especially the Septuagint of Isaiah is just so bad. It is terrible, right? And the Targum Shivim that we have now doesn't match a lot of the things that the Gemara says because only the Christians kept a copy of it, right? But the story is that Ptolemy wanted a translation, and he wanted to make sure that it was a correct translation. Yeah. And so he took 6 sages from each tribe of Israel, so 72 total, and he split them apart and imprisoned them until they each came up with a translation. And miraculously, the entire translation was the same. Yeah. And actually, the Gemara says, no, the miracle was that all 72 of them decided to change the translation in certain ways so that he wouldn't get mad, right? Yeah. Which is the opposite of how Christians understand it. Anyway, but so Young God, he knows Greek, and so he's always looking in the Targum Shivim. And the Septuagint, we have a lot of Septuagint fans around here.
So there actually is a real copy of that original translation. It's a real thing.
A copy. There's a standard one Christians use.
Got it.
More properly, it should be called the Septuagints because there are several of them. And frankly, anybody who knows Greek knows they're terrible translations. They're absolutely terrible translations. But in certain places, like we actually had we had a Greek Bible study for a little bit where somebody who knew the Septuagint was doing Septuagint here, and you can tell the places where it's obvious the person was misreading. For example, in Psalm 22:1, right? Yeah. It says, so it's Eli, Lama Azaftani, something, Rachok Mishagati, right? You are far from my roar, Shagati, right? But the translation is Shagagti. So it's obvious how he misread it. He thought it's Mi Yeshuati Divrei Shagagti is how he translated. So if you look in the Septuagint, right, for this verse, here, I'll pull it up.
I already pulled it up.
No, the Septuagint.
Oh, I don't know how to pull that up. I would have gotten kicked out of yeshiva if I knew how to pull that up.
Today, somebody asked me where to find a certain Ma'amar Chazal, and I said, honestly, you should probably just Google it or ask ChatGPT. And then I texted my Rebbeim from base will be so mad if they hear me say this.
Exactly.
Okay, so there was a time when I was so from I refused to use the Jastro. I would never use the Jastro, and I still I don't know if you've ever read the Hakdama to the Jastro. It still makes my blood boil.
Oh, I haven't. One second. I haven't. I want to hear what's in the Hakdama. That reminds me of the I've heard there's people who they'll use a Jastro, but they'll purposely put it on the floor while they're using it.
Yeah. So this is the Septuagint, right here, LXX. But how do I get it to go away? Here. So the translation from the Septuagint, where is it?
I had everybody asking why I was reading the Rishima Shir. What's that? It's like, you know what that is?
What?
You know what the Rishima Shirim is?
Sure, it's Yoshaber.
Oh, got it. There you go. That's an
The
expellable.
question is, what's worse, the Jastra or the what's it called?
There are also people who have issues with Kati, apparently. Yes.
Of course, God. Oy vey.
Kahati was Rahman al-Atzlan at Tzioni. That's why. He's from Satmar. Yeah. And there's a reason why Satmar printed their own version of Shulchan Aruch Harav. So you can tell how much people hate Chabad when you look at which version of Shulchan Aruch Harav they have in their basement. But so you see, it says, the account of my transgressions is far from my salvation, because the way he translated it, he thought the word shagati there is shagagti. You see?
Yeah.
Like it's funny when you look in the Greek, sometimes you can actually tell like exactly how it's different from the what you call it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what does he say in the Hakdama? He says in the Hakdama that the study of Talmud will only be completely reach its greatest heights or whatever when people start studying it for philological and philosophical reasons as adjuncts to those who are too engrossed in its practical aspects to fully appreciate it. Stomachagets.
Meaning to say, basically, the people who take the Gemara most seriously, they're the ones who aren't going to appreciate it.
Yeah, stomachagets. And then people are sitting there actually learning it in yeshiva. Like I after I read the Hakdama, I couldn't bring myself to study to open the Jastra. I just couldn't. It was just too disgusting.
Wow, that's pretty. I guess now I understand why people put the Jastra on the floor.
I mean, it's printed right there, but nobody reads the Hakdama. Whoever looks at the Hakdama in yeshiva.
Oh, I have. This is like that's like its own. What's it called? How like people just skip. First of all, it's not just true with Sfarim. It's true with books in general. Like it's you should read the introduction. Like it's a good idea. Like it literally tells you what is this book in front of you, what is it about, what's it trying to do. Like it's like you'll sit down and read like a 500-page book, but you're not interested in reading the 5-page.
Well, you know, Yitzchak, our mashkiach in yeshiva, Rabbi Glick, he used to always say this.
Maybe that's where I'm coming from.
He always used to quote. I think it's a Rambam somewhere, maybe in the Moreh Nevuchim. So I don't remember where, but something that says the quote was that fools hate hakdamas. Fools hate the preface.
Really?
I forgot who he quoted. I can't remember who he quoted, but I feel like it was some random like obscure Rambam, but I could be wrong.
So when Chabad printed a luach for studying Tanya every year, the first day of the luach is just the title page of Tanya. So the first day, you're supposed to spend the first day on the title page.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice. That's great. That's great.
What was I going to say? Just random thing I'm going to throw in. Have either of you guys ever tried asking ChatGPT Torah questions?
Well, Grok. Yeah, I test Grok by asking it.
I was blown away by it. Like
yeah,
like very on target and like tons of great marmakomos. Like
when Grok first came out, I wanted to see, like, I wanted to really test it, right? So I thought I would write an ambiguous question that it wouldn't be able to figure out exactly what I was saying. So I asked it about the conflict.
Your mama's a real Rebbe. You're being mechan. You're being mechan rock.
So I asked it about the disagreement between the Satmar Rav and Rav Moshe, right? And I thought,
Right.
there's like, how many Satmar Ravs? Does it know which Satmar Rav? And Rav Moshe, who Rav Moshe could be anybody. And it
Right.
went into this like really in-depth stuff that was like completely on point, including about like what Satmar Poskim today are actually relying more on, because I was asking about the original question was about IVF, right? I asked about surrogacy, but anyway, apparently now, and Grok knew that Satmar, like it told me, like Satmar communities nowadays are poskening in vitro, are poskening according to Rav Moshe, even though like the Satmar Rav was very against it in the 60s. Like they were burning Igros Moshe in the streets.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's crazy. Wow.
I mean, it was a huge issue back then.
So you know how we were talking about before. So Don, I had actually asked you this earlier. Earlier on, I texted you like, remind me to tell you like, yada yada yada. So like, actually, I had this crazy Gemara that's been sitting on my head for a few days, and I was like, wow, they don't teach you this one in yeshiva. It's incredible. I was trying to find it just now. I did it recently in Daf Yomi.
Young God. Guys, we're supposed to be reading Genesis. I'm supposed to be writing colorful interpretive Greek translations. That's funny. Yeah, keep going. What are you saying? Yeah, keep going.
Wait, but I'm saying, can I? Do I have permission to go slightly off route?
Sure, go for it. Yeah. I just wanted to share some young God humor.
Got it. Okay. So I really want to find it because it's always better when you read it inside. But whatever. Anyways, this crazy Gemara. I think it was Rava. He said the story is he's going to a non-Jew to because the non-Jew owed him money, so he's going to get him money, or something along the line. It doesn't really matter what he was going for. And the Gemara says this, like you would think they would censor this part. The Gemara says that he walks into the non-Jew, but it doesn't explain it. He says he meets him and he says the guy is sitting in a bathtub with roses, with naked woman all around.
Oh, I just learned it was in Daf Yomi. I just saw this. Yeah.
And then, but I think for me, then it's a really interesting conversation. The conversation is super interesting also, but the mind-blowing thing for me is why did he get into a conversation? Why didn't he turn around and walk out as soon as he saw what was going on?
Right. Yeah, I saw this Gemara. It is a very weird Gemara. It's
like crazy. It was like, wow, they don't they don't teach you this one in yeshiva, right?
They do not teach you that one in yeshiva.
The mission. I mean, it reminds me of the mission in Avodah Zarah with Rabbi Meir, and that they asked him, "Why do you walk into the baths with pictures of Aphrodite?" And he says, "Aphrodite came into my place. I didn't go into hers." Right.
Oh, so you're saying
it's similar.
Oh, maybe you're saying maybe that's the answer but meaning
no. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, also like, what's going on here? Rabbi Meir is going to Greek baths. I mean, with like pictures of Aphrodite, right? That's
right.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of some story that used to go around. I don't know if it's true or not, but that so there's like a lot of stories about like the Salvatics were very into like halacha is like you follow halacha exactly the way it's meant to be. So there's like some story about some guy met one of the Salvatics on the beach and he was totally naked, And what was Pshai? He said because the beach is a different place. It doesn't have the same halachos and sneas, so you don't need to wear anything. According to halacha, you don't need to wear anything, so you're just walking around naked.
Oh my God, Jacob, what have I done? What have I brought to your channel? Oh my
Okay, I'm sorry.
The
I like-
Gemara. I mean, we this was a place of kedush and v'taharin, like, and we never talked about such things. Yitzchak. Like, what's going on here?
Fantastic. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. The only thing I'm upset about right now is that Jacob is so happy right now. It's getting me a little annoyed. He's so happy. He's way too happy.
This is the
Yeah.
best. I love this so much. Like,
But it's like Jacob has never smiled on a single stream with me, and now all I see is this big smile. He's all ear to ear. Oh
I'm in
my
trouble.
God. Hilarious. Literally hysterical.
But I'm actually gonna have to wrap up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
If you wanna finish off with anything specific or go a little bit further, I mean, understand I have like 5 more minutes.
Oh no, I don't have anything specific. We can wrap up.
Okay. Well, it was a good. Well,
I'm gonna let you guys. Yeah.
I just really, can I just finish my thought about the Gemara once we're talking about it?
Yeah.
So the Gemara is a really interesting discussion. The Gemara talking is really
Yeah,
interesting.
I can pull it up.
I can't remember exactly what
I
Dava
know
was.
where it is. I can pull it up. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Where is it?
Well, I had 2 thoughts. My first thought was it was like mind blowing to me that like there's clearly this story in the Gemara about like Rava not just turning around and running in the other direction.
Right.
Like, what's the deal with that?
Right.
I mean, that would be my natural reaction. Like, I'm not saying I'm like a super holy guy, like, or whatever. Like, like it would just at least be like, whoa, what is going on over here? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
With the, like,
for sure. Can't find it. There's also, if you learned that same Gemara, there was an interesting Gemara about. It was about Jews keeping Shabbos. It was very interesting. That basically, at that time period, they didn't really believe that the Jews kept all the laws of Shabbos. It's really fascinating. Why is this not coming up?
You're still on the Sefaria thing, so make sure.
No, I'm trying to find the Gemara.
Wait, who said the thing earlier on about the what's it called? About Horius?
That was Clonimus. About her.
Oh, so I don't. Is Clonimus still with us? That sounds bad.
Let me see if he's with us. Yeah, he's still here.
No,
she said it's nostalgia. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm sure it
is. So there's this.
You should actually join, but Yitzchak's leaving, so we're gonna have to close anyhow.
I mean, we could do another 5 minutes. I'm having a good time,
I'm here. Yeah.
But basically, this is really interesting Gemara. No, not Gemara. I'm very into one of the people I listen to a lot is Shirley Bornstein. Have you heard of him?
No.
So he's like one of the big. He's like gives a huge like Daf Yomi share in Lakewood. He's very, very. It's pretty incredible. It's like all sorts of really interesting stuff. One of the things he's very into is like these kinds of random historical things, and like he like throws them in whatever. We can talk about that another time. But basically, his thing in his introduction to Horius, he was talking about who Rashi was, and there's this sefer that he quotes a lot called the Margolis Hayam, which basically he says he proves that it's not Rashi because I don't know, maybe Clone is familiar with this because he says he proves that it's not Rashi because there's one laz in the whole Horius. Like Rashi says, like, oh, this is what the word means, and then in a belaz it's whatever. Look at this guy.
This guy knows his stuff.
So yeah, very good. So yeah, anyways, it's really so, and the laws is in Latin. So he says it can't be Rashi. Rashi's Old French. Rashi always has laws in Old French. Why would he? So it must be as someone else. And then at the end of Makos, the Rivan takes over from Rashi, and over there he also has a laz that's Latin. So he makes the connection, says, "Oh, it is a very high probability that the Rashi of there is actually in Horius is actually Rivan." So it's cool. Donnie, do you have any success on that?
Yeah, I found it.
But can you pull up on the screen?
Yeah, hold on. I'm just about to pull it up.
Donnie, you're really like a tech expert. Like you really like.
Yeah, Jacob taught me all of it. Here we go. Here. Rava Atmilei Korban Bar Sheshach Biyom Edom. Rava brought a gift to this like priest or whatever, this like not priest, this like high person, I don't know, like a prince or something, named Bar Sheshach Biyom Edom on the day of like a day of worship. So Amar Yadana Beit Lo Palach Avodah Zarah. He knew that this person does not worship Avodah Zarah. He found him sitting up to his neck in roses. The Kaiman Zonas Arumas Kaime, and there were these naked prostitutes that were alongside him. So Amar Le Istchu Kai Gavna Amad Asi, which means, you want to translate that, Yitzchak?
Are you going to have something similar? Like, is your future world La'amadasi is going to have anything like this?
Right. So Amar Le Didana Diva Tvei Mehai. He says, Rava says back, ours is going to be better than this. So Amar Le Tvei Mehai Mihava. How can it be better than this? Right? Amar Le Atun Ika Alayo Aimsa de Malchusa. Anan Lo Tehev Alon Alsa Malchusa. So back to him. Right now you have fear of the king.
Yeah.
We don't have fear of the king. Amar Le Anan Miha My Aimsa de Malchusa Ika Alai. So he says back to him, what fear of the king do I have?
Yeah. Apparently.
Adiyasve, and while that happened,
by the way, apparently the background of the story, I think Rashi fills in the gap or something. Basically, this guy, he was like super connected and like whatever. He had protexia, like so meaning like he didn't have to be worried about these things. He's like, oh, I don't have that problem.
Got it. And Adiyasve, as they were talking, Asu Pirkus of the Malka, some I guess person of the king came. Amrle Kum, get up to Kabaile Malka because the king is here. Kinafik Azal. When he got up, Amrle, Eina de Boy Lemichsilhu Bishusa Tifka. Eina de Boy Lemichsilhu Bishusa Tifka. Anybody?
Aina is the I de Boy Lemichsilhu Bishusa that wants to like see for you or give you Bishusa as like a curse or a bad thing. Tifka, that I should pop out. Meaning to say, right. He was so impressed with like, wow, you said this thing, and suddenly the king's asking me at the same time. Like, wow, that's crazy.
Right. And Amrle Rava Amen, and then Paka Elchabar Sheshach, and then the I popped out. It's like a comedic story basically. And then
it's a crazy story.
Then the end, Barshika's eye pops out. That's the end of the story. Is that it?
Wait, so crazy. Then two Amoraim say, well, then the part that I thought was just so interesting is like there's right after that. So then two Amoraim say like, oh, those weren't like Rava should have told him something else. They should have told him this pasuk or that pasuk.
Right.
Basically, these are all. It's like an obvious question. The obvious question is like, what are you talking about? Like, the fear of the king, meaning like the world to come is going to be like unbelievable. Not anything like anything physical. It's going to be better than anything. Like there's tons of Mamari Chazal and Psukim, and like why is he saying that? And I thought it was so. I thought like this thought just popped in my head. I thought it was so simple. I thought it was like, but it teaches us an important lesson. It said, had Rava quoted him a pasuk on the spot, you'd be like, okay, yeah, get out of here.
Right.
You had to give him something that was practical that he could actually feel at this moment.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Like he's not gonna this guy's sitting in a bath with who knows who. Clearly, like it's not like he's not gonna get into a philosophical discussion. How good is the next world? We'd be like, what's something you can feel right now? I'm gonna tell you something you can feel right now. You can.
Fascinating.
That's
good. I like that interpretation. That's really nice. That's really interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was so interesting. Like you have to. Sometimes I think it also like to me that lends itself a whole discussion. I mean, this is another whole rabbit hole, and I don't mean rabbit hole in a bad way of like truth being subjective, objective. Because like you could say different things to different people at different times. Doesn't mean it's not true, but also doesn't mean that it is. You know what I mean?
Sure. Jacob, just wait till he finds out about Bavaki and the transjective.
Uh-oh.
Forget it.
I don't. Should I start brushing up on my Verveki? I've only listened to like 2 or 3 hours of his stuff.
The person you should listen to is Yosef.
No.
Yosef, yeah, Raisin. He's
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 a
our,
scholar of
one
the
of our
corner.
local Rebbeim here.
Yeah, you have to meet him. I went to his house for a Shabbos meal. Actually, it's like he lives in DC.
One second. What's this guy's name?
Yosef Razin. He's like the local scholar of the corner. So he's like a really well versed in
Everything.
everything. Like
Cool.
a serious guy, like a
Yeah.
real guy.
Yeah.
It.
Like he PhD in robotics, right? And he's been doing Daf Yomi for 10 years. And
I always regret asking him a question. Sometimes I'll ask him a question on like I message him because I sometimes have random questions like I don't know, how do I learn about XYZ or some history or something, and I'll get like a 10-minute voice note and like he breaks it all down. I'm like, wow, this guy is amazing. Oh look here, this is from a Haskama from Kleinemos, Talmud Chacham and Anav.
Very good.
And I have to say, a while back we had somebody who was like this really thought he was big on Kabbalah. Like nobody around here knows that much Kabbalah, but he was quoting the Zohar and Yosef says to him, "But that's not the parish of the Or HaChama." And I I didn't even know there was a parish Or HaChama on the Zohar. But Yosef is something else. He's
Cool.
By the way, anybody who's listening, South Estuary is in October, and Yosef is one of the speakers.
I know. I can't make it. I'm so upset. I'm going to be in Israel. I can't make it. I'm so mad.
Donnie, going to Israel?
Yeah, I can't make it. We just had this conference in Chicago. Now there's going to be one in October, and this is the first one that Yosef's attending. So it's like a big deal, and it's like it's complicated with Shabbos accommodations and everything for him. So I really wanted to be there, but he's not. I'm not going to be able to make it.
So you're at least going to say hi to Chezi while you're in Israel, right?
Yeah, I hope to meet Chezi. Chezi's another prominent member of this space. So I hope to meet him in Israel as well.
So I mean, this is kind of probably gonna have to be another. I'm like curious how this whole space thing started.
So I was going to a church to hear a Gitchka talk, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "Hi, I'm Daniel Shalom from Ner Yisrael, and I'm also here at this church listening to Gitchka speak."
You guys started way before me. You guys started way before me.
And you started playing Jewish geography on the spot, of course, right?
Of course. Here, young guy. It's a cult, Yitzchak, but it's a cool cult.
Sounds cool.
There you go.
The best discussion started around Jordan Peterson.
The best way to understand the TLC, this little corner, in my opinion, in terms of just general the structure of it, is that so Jordan Peterson created a lot of different there's a lot of conversations that came from Jordan Peterson, and a lot of community sparked, and within this little corner, there's a bunch of different YouTube channels that make content that people all follow. So there's between 5 and 20 channels that people follow. And they're all mostly very small channels that people follow, and that creates the community.
It's so funny. I randomly was reading the Jordan Peterson's book last night.
There you go. You knew you were coming.
Randomly, Hashkacha Pratis.
Well, seriously, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
All
right.
We'll
wrap up.
It's been a pleasure. Nice to meet everyone. Thank you for hosting, Jacob.
Thank you for hosting, Donnie.
Well, if you were a real Jew, you would have served more food. But
that's true. That's true.
All right.
Good night.
See you guys later.
Bye. Wait, did it end?